All right, Mopar people, welcome back to the channel. I'm just Mopar Joe, and it is time to take a lunch break on our 72 Dodge D100. Let's check it out. So since you last saw this, I think, I got my battery permanently mounted. Cables ran, they're in place. This is Darren Blake's old radiator out of his Barracuda that I'm painting right now. I think he's donating it to the cause, so thank you, Darren. It's got a sweet Black Max fan on it. I see a little dirt dauber down there I need to get off, but it's no big deal. I just stuck this in here to get it out of my way, but my plan for the day is get that little 406 dropped in here. I need to do a little cleanup. You kind of see when it sets out in the rain, it gets kind of funky, so I did have my transmission plugged off over there and covered up on top, so all that looks good. Let's see the interior. Here's my interior right now. I don't know if I finished showing you that or not, but I got my little seats in, my new dash pieces in, which I got that one from my buddy Tanner. He gave me a super good deal on it. This is the old one that I just patched up with some seam sealer and black paint for now, and I got my Mopar Grant steering wheel in, and my new lock cylinder so I can actually start the thing from the seat. I got a little water came in up there, but it's to be expected in this sort of wreck. My fuel cell's mounted still, and I've got my drive shaft cut and bolted in right now. You can see it through my traction bars here. And that's where I've quit for a little while. So my goal for the day was just get that engine put in, the bell housing bolts in, and the two engine mounts. I'm not going to try to hook everything up and get it all plumbed and start it today, but I will at least get that out of my way in my shop and be another step closer on this thing. It'll be a lot more motivating when you have an engine setting in the truck with a working transmission and ready to test. So let me get that thing out and we'll get going. Now, to fit the spirit of this build, like everything else, this converter was actually in my race car at one point. It is a PTC 9.5 inch that also came from Darren Blake's. Actually, this was in his Charger, so if it'll withstand the 500 cubic inches of his car, the little 406 will be fine. I did have this one behind the 406 a long while back. I think my very first time out with it, and I ended up getting second place that day, and it was just is what it is, but it all worked in harmony together. It was just a little bit too tight in my race car, but it'll be good for a street converter. That's actually what it's supposed to be, and was like, I think 80% street or 75% street and 25% race. So also in this heavy truck, the truck probably weighs 500 or 600 more pounds than that car does. It may stall more, so we're going to find out. I got the same gear anyway. I always grease my converter snouts. A little bit of red grease. If you didn't have that, I guess you could use transmission fluid. And that's a new seal from the last time I ran this, so I'm not too worried about it. There we go, quick. Nah, pop up. That's it. It was quick. Someone has clearanced this one to get converter bolts in easier, so that's nice. I'm going to turn that where I think my flex plate is right now. And I think my pump is pumping because I poured a quart of fluid in this. You see this rag? It started running out of that top line over here, so that's a good sign, I do believe. Here she is hanging out. I try to keep this chain a little tight, and you can use a leveler if you want to, but the issue with this deal is I'm trying to sneak it right under my hood here without taking this hood off again. And it should work. I've done it before. Just be that pan clearing or not. So we'll see how she goes. I'm liking my pneumatic cylinder on this cherry picker. Coming in. Oh yeah. I'll let her down. That's good. And up a little bit. All right, touching. Oh yeah, we beat it. Like a glove. It's gonna look tiny in there. Big blocks are made for D100s, especially low deck. She's just hanging out. I'll let it down a little bit. I gotta hurry up, my sandwich is getting cold. Back up a little. And I get me a little block of wood up here in the front. I don't actually remember which set of holes my mounts go into, but I think it's going to be very apparent whenever I get that bolted up in the rear. Then I can slide them in here, thread them in. I got some, you'll see the mounts in just a minute. Well, here's a mount. You'll see one side happens to have a plate welded to it. And all that's going to do is just basically make it a solid mount. The other side, this was the newer style mount, I believe, like an 80s truck, but it's all still the same. If you went to the parts store and bought one, same locations there. There's no tit on that side. You flop them over, the tit's on that side. So I'm gonna put my tit towards, I'm gonna put it up and see how it does. If that won't work for me, then I'll flop it over, but there are places for tits in both mounts, so they may actually go either way. I gotta jack it up some more. Also, I thought about sliding in my Chinese header and bolting it on today, just to keep bugs from, you know, living in my port. Coming in. They are getting a little rusted on them, even though they're stainless. See how we do. I might have to come in from the bottom. Straight. Here's what it took for passenger side. The engine's jacked all the way up. The transmission's against the bell housing against the firewall. I had to use a ratchet strap to twist the engine, pull it that way. Both bottom mounts are out. I also had to jack up high on this side to be able to get it up and do all that. So hopefully it won't have a clearance issue now. And don't fall out of there. One moment, please. Okay. Yeehaw. These are the cheap Chinese bolts that came with the headers, and I think they were just a shade too long, so we double washed them. Now, well, lunchtime is over, folks, and there it is, and it's home. hopefully for a long time. I just stuck my distributor in with the hole down so it would keep stuff out of that hole. I got my oil line plugged off in the back. These headers, please don't make fun of my frame notch. I'm gonna clean it up someday. But as the engine was slowly settling into place, it was rubbing more and more and more and more. So I'd cut off a little piece and then it'd rub in a different spot and it'd cut off a little piece. And even right now, I may get myself a little shim or some better mounts. It's pretty solid in there right now. I'd like to drive it like this and see if it moved. I don't think it will. My water pump's still in there. I just stuck the radiator back in to get it out of the way. And next time you see this thing, I'm gonna say that it will be running. So until then, I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll catch you next time. All right, Mopar people.